Hello, everyone. It's Lori Staley, Addicted Stamper with Stampin' Up. And it is Tuesday at noon, so it is time for lunch with Lori. If you are on, make sure you give me a shout out, a like, or a love to let me know. Sorry, I've got a weird message on my screen. Hi, Betty. Oh, good. I must be at the right place this time. I didn't realize until Monday that Zoom had put me not on my page. They put me on my personal page. So thank you for sharing, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for the beautiful cards you sent me as well. I appreciate that. As always, you always send me beautiful cards. All right, I got a fun technique today for us. I just got off of a meeting, so I'm a little bit like, okay, is everything here? I think it is. I think we did good. Hi, Corinne. Good to see you. Good to see you. I tried something new, so I'm trying to figure that out at the same time. But we're going to do a little housekeeping. Hey, Carol. Oh, well, that's exciting. A visit from a friend is always good, right? I think that'll be great. Yes, come back and watch because we're going to do a technique. And then if there's time, I'm going to do fun fold. If not, I'll fit that in some other time. But so let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the Stampin' Up world. We are celebrating our 10-year anniversary. How about that? 10 years of paper pumpkin. And the funny thing is, I remember I was at the convention when they announced that they were launching paper pumpkin. And I believe it was Pam Morgan, who I adored. She was a member of the team at Stampin' Up. And she came out, I think it was her, and they had a pumpkin, like a Cinderella carriage that the guys carried out on stage, and she was in it. Might have been Bonnie too. One of those two ladies. I adored them both. To announce Paper Pumpkin and this fabulous kit promotion that we were starting. And the funny thing was that everybody was all excited about it. And the early kits were not what the new kits are, as you well know if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. I adore these kits now, which is why I've made it a feature here on my YouTube channel every month. And I'm just waiting for February's to show up so we can do that. I'm hoping next Tuesday we'll be playing with Paper Pumpkin. But for our 10-year anniversary, we have this beautiful box. And you know, you can repurpose these boxes for sure. So how about that? They're like a really good size, especially if you have kiddos at college or something to pack a little thinking of you package and send it off to them. But you're also going to get a free kit, a free gift. It's called 10 Years of Growth. And it has all the supplies in it to create the 9 cards, 3 different designs. That's pretty standard now. An all occasion stamp set. Beautiful botanical images, greetings, a polished pink classic ink spot, which is always fun. And then, of course, all your paper pierces, your embellishments, and digitally painted designs, kind of probably like this box. So I'm anxious to see that. Of course, there's a few Stampin' Dimensionals in there for you, mini ones, and a free additional stamp set, which includes a plant and pot builder to make more projects with. So that is very, very cool. So if you are not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you want to make sure you do that before March 10th. And as I've said before, it's always a great time to try Paper Pumpkin during celebration. I always recommend to someone who's never done Paper Pumpkin to get a 3-month subscription. And why do I say 3 months? Because you don't really get the flavor in 1 month. So if you get a 3-month subscription, you get 3 months. If you pre-purchase that subscription during celebration, you also earn a free celebration item. So if it's something you've been thinking about and you're like, oh, I'm not sure, well, getting an extra stamp slot might be the thing that says, yep, this is the month I want to do it. And why not do it with a prepaid subscription and get yourself a free celebration item? Celebration, this is February 14th. Oh my goodness, happy Valentine's Day, guys. I just realized it's February 14th. Yeah, I'm a little busy right now. I don't even know what day of the week or date it is, apparently. But celebration only has 2 more weeks, right? So now is the time. Pull the trigger if you haven't. Of course, the things in the celebration catalog, which we've been playing with since January. This is one of my favorites, that Dandy Design paper. I love that paper. I'm going to be so sad when that's not available any longer and we can't play with it. but it's free with a $100 purchase. It's 48 sheets. It's all the pastels with a little bit of granny apple green in there, some mango melody, and well, Calypso Coral is soft subtle, but it's a deeper soft subtle than some of the others, right? So yeah, it's a great one. But all of these items, okay, as well as the new ones that they released on February 1st that come from the mini catalog, the annual catalog, and of course our kit collection as well. So don't forget to get all your free goodies. And of course, when you have spent $150 with me in products during January and February, you will qualify for my after party. It's exclusive to those friends that did do that. And we will do it virtually. So no matter where you live, you can participate. And it's fun. We do door prizes. We have special projects never before seen. You have opportunities to earn the card kit, as well as celebration continues for one more month from the stash that I have built up for you all. All right. And then coming March 1st, so when celebration ends, it's a little bit like, oh, but coming March 1st, we have these exclusive online products that are going to be launching. This Irresistible Bloom stamp set. I've been playing with that. We'll be sharing some of that in the last week of February with you. Beautiful frosted dots. And that paper is really pretty too. That's kind of like a collection. You can buy the whole collection or pick and choose. Then we have the naturally gilded paper and the basic 3D embossing folder trio, as well as a new alphabet set. But this is just a smattering of what's going to be available online. So make sure on March 1st, you go out to my store, right? AddictedStamper.stampinup.net and check that out, because there's going to be even more products out there for you. Okay. And speaking of my online store, if while you're out there, you decide to put an order in, let me show you the cards that you can earn. These are my monthly just cards. Okay. With a minimum $35 product order, you will get the card kits. There's an in-person class if you're local, so you can choose to attend that on March 8th at 3, or you can do a porch pickup. If you're long distance, we happily mail them. We just ask for $4 postage to get them to you. And everything comes pre-cut, pre-embossed, pre-die cut if necessary. The embellishments are included. The ribbons, the bows are even tied for you. The punching is done. All you do is supply the stamps, ink, and adhesive and create your projects. And if you don't have the greetings that I used, you can substitute whatever greetings you do have, right? All right. And you can also purchase the class outright for $15, and you can attend the in-person or do that as a porch pickup or long distance option as well. All right. What else? What else? Oh, I am doing my first craft sip kit night. Craft and sip kit night. Look at this pretty wreath. I just love it. And I know exactly where I'm going to put it. I'm going to hang it on my wreath holder in my foyer. I think it got smashed a little bit in transport here. It was upstairs for my clubs last night. But isn't it pretty? I love it. I just love it. It's a nice size. It's not too big, so it'll hang very nicely in the foyer. This is from the Wreath of Blooms kit. You get everything you see here. Plus I had some twine left over, not very much, just a tiny little bit. And I had some tear and tape left over and some glue dots left over. So things that you can add to your stash. Went together pretty easily, so that was pleasant. And I just think it's really cute and pretty. It's $13 for the kit. When you join me for the craft and sip night, which means that you will have your choice of water, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, soda, and you can BYOB if you prefer something else to sip on while we make our cards and our wreath. And you will get to make this card as well. Plus, you're going to get a Tombow glue, which will help in putting some of the pieces together, and just a fun girls' night out. So I will pop the registration for that. If you're local to me, you can sign up for that. I think I have 2 spots left. So make sure you are getting signed up for that if you want to join us for that evening. That is February 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. But you can also just grab the kit for $13 out in my online store and put it together at home. It's always fun to craft with friends, right? Can't beat that. Okay, and then we made some cards together. And I'm trying to find them because they aren't where they were. There's another one. And this, I'm pretty sure we did 3, so I'm going to have to go in search of the other one. But the cards that we did, do I have myself mixed up? I don't think I do. All right. So I believe these are the cards that we did together, right? Aren't they cute? This was one of the kits. This is the thanks kit. And this winner is Verna Freer. So Verna, I don't know if I saw you hop on or not, but I'll be sending those out to you. Everybody else should have gotten their prizes from me. I know my mailings went out last week, like on Saturday, I think. So they should be either in your mailbox or very soon in your mailbox. I'm also going to move my wreath so we don't destroy it. And we are going to do a fun technique. This is a technique that's been around for a long time. I had to adapt it just a little bit because we used to have glossy paper. We don't have glossy paper anymore. But can you see the gloss on this? So this is called the faux tile technique. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to show you how to get that glossy effect. We are using Gorgeous Grape and Pool Party as our colors, along with some basic white. Four and a quarter by 11 is the cardstock. And apparently, I am missing a layer, so I will have to grab my Pool Party. We've got our layers and we've got our piece that we're going to do our faux tile technique on. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that happy birthday. Now I have a plethora, a lot of stamps here, guys, that I'm using. I'm using Artistically Inked. This is my go-to greeting or go-to stamp set for a nice font, long happy birthday. I use it all the time. I also love these images. They give you that alcohol blend technique, alcohol marker technique that we can get when we do it on vellum, but it gives it to you on regular cardstock. The inside greeting, wishes for a beautiful birthday, is going to come from framed florets. Oh, but I'm not done. Of course, the main focal images, the flowers, are coming from Two Tone Flora. Such a pretty stamp set. And you've got 3 sizes, maybe 4 actually, 4 sizes of flowers on there, along with some greenery, some accent pieces, even in this little cute quadruple grouping of flowers. And then, of course, you have all the dies that you need to cut all of that out with, right? All of your stamped images, plus this beautiful background. I love, love, love that. Very detailed die. And if you try to cut that detailed die and use adhesive sheet on the back of your cardstock, make sure that not only do you run it through a few times, your machine, but that you're also running it through with the die facing up. So the cutting side facing up, your cardstock on top of it, with the adhesive sheet facing you, and then your cutting plate on top of that. I don't know why that seems to help with detailed dies, but it really does. If that still isn't working, grab yourself a dryer sheet, try that as underneath your paper to make sure that you are getting as much thickness there as you can to help in cutting that apart or cutting that out. All right, let me grab my Gorgeous Grape ink. I love the purples and the Pool Party together. And I'm going to put this right down here at the bottom of the basic white. I'm using the lines in my background to kind of keep me straight. I'm also going to put this here so I don't go too high. Okay. And I love that font. I really do. Love that font. You know what? I'm going to flip that and do the other side because I want to keep it lower so I can get the ribbon in there. So anybody have any Valentine plans? Keep that right down here. We are doing crab legs for dinner. We're not going out. I prefer not to deal with the crowds on Valentine's Day. I have the beautiful pool party ribbon. This is so pretty. It's a wider, almost like a grove grain effect with a satin edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a little knot, ideally in the center, just like that. And then I'm going to flip this over. Just gives it a little accent without a bow. So if you don't like to tie bows, this is a great solution. All right. You still have a little bit more than just the straight on ribbon there. And there's two sides to this, right? So you don't want the side that's all knotty looking. You want the side that lays a little bit flatter, just like that, to be facing up. So you always want to check that. Down just a little bit. And try to get that right in the center. Oh, we're going to go over a little bit. And I went too far. This is always the game. There we go. I think that'll work. Let's see. Yep, that looks pretty good. We'll trim that off. And then I'm going to grab that pool party cardstock so that we can cut our layer. I don't know what happened to that. I swear I checked this morning and it was there. But you know, I've got that elf in my studio. I do have that elf in my studio. I'm happy to share him with anybody that might want him. But I can't seem to give him away. All right, so piece of pool party, and that's going to be cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then we're going to mount this. That can go right on our card front. Hey, Carol, how are you? There we go. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my piece. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper so I can stamp on top of that. And we're going to grit all of our pretty flowers out here. So here's a funny story. I was packing the kit for today, and I have no idea which splatter stamp we used on that design. What stamp I used at the time I created this. So I grabbed one because we have a lot of stamp sets with splatter stamps in, and I own a lot of stamp sets with splatter stamps in. So I just grabbed one in the hopes that I can make it work, whatever it looks like, right? I am going to, now you can do it either way. This is a two-step stamp, obviously. You can stamp the dark image first and then do the light image, or you can do the light image first and then do the dark image. I find for me and my personal situation, I sometimes fare better if I stamp the dark first. I can kind of see it better. So I'm just going to randomly scatter the purple ones. And then That was with the gorgeous Grape. And then I'm going to do the fresh freesia. Line this up. This is a very forgiving stamp, so it's pretty easy to line it up. For me, it is much easier for me to see. Now, this one's a little different since I don't have the bottom edge to work with, but I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to go with that. And then same thing here. Just bring in some color, and here, bring in some color, just a little bit. So that is our purple flowers. Hi, Deborah, good to see you. Yeah, I love this color combination, Pool Party and Gorgeous Grape and Fresh Freesia. We're going to take the, and again, I'm going to do the darker first. So I did not use two colors for the blues. I simply did Full Strength Pool Party. Okay. Which is very light in and of itself. And then I off-stamped our other flower. So I'm going to ink that up, off-stamp it. So it's very, very light. I love it. Such pretty shades together, don't you think? And then, so I'm using the splatter stamp from Well Done. There's a couple other ones I thought it might be, but I don't think it was. So this isn't, I know this isn't the right one, but this one's going to do just fine. So send me some good juju today, guys, because I'm making an important phone call this afternoon, and I need all the good vibes I can get. Pretty excited. If everything works out in a few months, hopefully I'll have an announcement. We'll see. Okay, so we've done that. We're going to score this, and we're scoring it in both directions. And I don't know if the score marks are showing up there or not, but let's do it. Let's do it. And I believe it's, boy, I almost cut it. Make sure you push that darker blade away, right? I'm going to turn it around this way. And I think I did 1 3/4 and 2 3/4. Yep. And all the measurements will be down below for you, so you don't have to worry about capturing this. This is a perfect square that we're doing. Okay. So now I'm going to turn it into a glossy effect. Let me grab my embossing powders and my Versamark. So for this, you want a really well inked Versamark. And your clear stamping powder, stamp and emboss powder. We are going to smash the Versamark all over. And you can also score the paper before you stamp it. And then you'll have like the grout gaps between and going through the flower images. I kind of like the flower image complete. Notice I did not use the embossing buddy because we want the clear powder to stick everywhere. And you are going to dump powder all over. I'm holding on to it by the edges. I feel like I missed that corner, maybe that corner. And then I'm going to turn on my heat tool. So I'm going to set this away from me so as to not blow it everywhere, right? And hopefully it does the same thing here that it does over on Facebook, in that the gun will turn on, but then the noise will stop. Can't really hold on to this with the clothespin because you're going to go over the whole thing. And you will see the shine come up. Whether you can see that on camera or not, I'm not sure. But you'll see the colors deepen a little bit, brighten, if you will, become more bold. Really important too to make sure that the whole thing is in fact set. I'm going to lay that down for a second so I can hold it up at this end now. And you can always go back and add more powder if you miss a spot, or it doesn't come up quite as much as you want it to. But again, just make sure that there's no powder sections left when you're done. And if there is, re-ink with the Versamark and add more powder. There are no mistakes in stamping, just opportunities for creativity. That should be my tagline. I've been saying that since I started. Okay. Oh, Deborah, yes. This has been around for a while, pretty much since I started stamping. So there it is. The tile, you can see the tile effect in through there. Now this one I apparently used a different color because the speckles are a little darker. Which one do you like better? The lighter ones or the darker ones? I don't know. I might like the lighter ones better, actually. Okay, let me dump the powder back in because I think we did a good job getting that covered. So we used to do this on glossy cardstock. If you missed me at the beginning, we had glossy cardstock back in the day, and we did the faux tile technique with the glossy cardstock. So you didn't have to do the embossing, right? Well, I really like this technique. I think it's fun. I think it's different, and you can make some really cool cards with it. I see Betty just said she used to do it with her scenic Christmas cards. So why not do it and just add the glossy cardstock or the glossy embossing powder? In this case, it's the clear. There's also a technique, but I don't think I can demonstrate it live for you, called cracked ice technique that you do with the clear embossing powder. Now, we used to have thick embossing powder, so you'd have to do multiple layers. So you'd ink it up with Versamark, you'd hit it with the powder and the heat tool, you'd re-ink it, hit it with powder and heat tool, maybe do it 3 times. And then once it's done, you put it in the freezer. And you leave it in the freezer for 20 minutes, half hour, I'm not sure, whatever, however you might, it works the best for you. And then when you pull it out, you literally bend the cardstock and it cracks and it looks like cracked ice. So that's another technique that you can do with your clear embossing powder. But remember too, the clear embossing powder will also allow you to emboss in any color because you can use it over the classic ink with your Stamparatus. stamp it, and then put the Versamark on the stamp and stamp it again with the Stamparatus. It's lined up perfectly for you. And then you can heat set, and you've got embossed Gorgeous Grape, embossed Starry Sky, whatever color you're working with. We're going to add those silly fun flowers. If you're following me, you know all of a sudden I'm obsessed with these little fun flowers. And those are in the annual catalog. They've been there since the catalog launched. Of course, now the catalog's going to be wrapping up here in the next couple of months. And now I fall in love with them. Oh my goodness. All right. So what do you think? Do you like the darker speckles or the lighter speckles? White powder will cover up your images, Deborah. Right? Because if you're putting Versamark in your heat, you're setting white powder on top of it, it's going to color up your images. There might be a shadow effect behind it of the color, but I don't think it'll give you a crisp color like this. Okay. All right, what time is it? All right, do you want to do a quick fun fold? Oh, let's put the inside in. What do you say? Let's do a quick fun fold since I have it here ready for you. Just going to stamp wishes for a beautiful birthday in there. Actually, we're going to bring back in our pool party and put a pool party flower down in the bottom. I've got the right stamps. Oh, I did it backwards. We'll see if I can line it up. I did. Like I said, it's a very forgiving one. Yeah, I would recommend the clear. All right, so let's grab my other kit after we put this in the card. I've thought about doing like a kitchen scene with the carrots, the smaller carrots from the Saleabration set. I think that would be cute. I've also thought about doing it with the vegetable pattern in the Day of the Farm Designer Series paper. Not sure how that would work. I'll have to try that. Oh, thanks, guys. Okay. All right. Well, remember to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, so you're notified when I go live, which is Tuesdays at noon now. And leave me a comment. Even if you're watching after the replay, you can leave a comment and you'll be entered into the drawing for the projects I make today. We're playing with Beautifully Happy. This is one of my favorites from Saleabration as well. And look at our cute little fun fold here. We're also using that beautiful Flora paper. Love me some of that. Ooh, sorry. This one has a lot of stamps in it, and they all come from the same stamp set. Woohoo! Including stamps that I did not take out of the case yet because I'm petrified I'm going to lose them. They're so tiny. And I don't know about you, but I have a problem with the photopolymer sometimes. It kind of disappears on me. All right, I'm going to bring my paper trimmer, cutter, whatever you like to call it, back in here. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm just going to go ahead and manually crease that with my fingers, and then I'm going to cut from the score line to the point. So I'm lining up the score line with the point. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to cut. Okay. There's our front flap, just that easy. This you now have for scrap to punch things out of or do whatever you would like. Then I have a piece of soft seafoam. And we're going to do the same thing. Line up the opposite corners in the track And that will be our layer that goes on the front under our pretty designer paper. Isn't that pretty? Love that. So we're going to cut it corner to corner again. This is easy, right? Measurements again will be down in the description. Give me about 15 minutes after I get off the live to get that loaded for you. Okay, so I think. I swear people are playing games with me in my studio because again, I checked this. I had it in my hand and this piece is gone now. So I'm going to go grab my Calypso Coral. It's crazy. These are the days where I think I'm losing my mind. And we're going to cut ourselves another piece of that Calypso Coral for our flap. So let's lay these over here for a second. And grab a ruler. I keep threatening to go get that, what's it called, ball chain. Back in the day, dating myself now, back in the day when you went into a bank, there was a place that you could stand at and write out your deposit slip or sign your checks, and the pens were attached to the counter with that chain. I swear I'm going to get that and put that in my storage unit beside me, because that's supposed to have my scissors, my rulers, all those things in it, and invariably when I go for them, it's not there. This is 3 by 8. So we're going to put 3 by 8. Now we're going to score that at 4. This is, we're just take a ½ inch off of that. Give us our 8. 4. All right, well, I think everything else is here. I hope so, huh? Thanks, Deborah. Hi, Monica. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's do a little gluing down here. I'm going to grab a silicone sheet. My adhesive. The whole way into the corner, and we can do that with the silicone sheet because nothing sticks to it, right? Layer that on. I love the colors in this particular designer pattern too. This is going to go on our front. Just like that. I am going to take the bone folder over that. Okay. Then I have a piece of basic white. We are going to die cut that with the stitched greenery. This is a great alternative to embossing your background. And I'm just going to put it in the center. I may even run it through this way. You don't have to for this because we're not really cutting out, we're cutting into. But you can, won't hurt it. Put that over on my die cutting machine. I put it at an angle on the platform, right? So one top corner is higher than the other one so that it's not hitting that straight edge of that big die. You get a huge clunk if you do it that way. So it kind of went through like that. Okay. Like that. It's just easier on the die. It's easier on your machine. Your die will not warp as quickly, right? So I've run this through a lot. I use this a lot in my clubs and classes. And you can see it's not warping at all at this point. This is going to be our background. No, not on the orange, not on the Calypso though. We're going to put it on a layer of that beautiful soft seafoam. Now we can put it on the Calypso. Well, welcome from Alabama, and thank you for watching. I'm so happy that you joined us. Be sure to subscribe if you like what I'm doing so that you're notified when I'm live. Right now, my live on YouTube is Tuesdays at noon Eastern time. We're going to grab this piece of Calypso Coral now. I'm going to go ahead and do the inside of this card first. We have For a Very Happy Birthday. Again, this comes from Beautifully Happy, which is one of the $100 selections during Saleabration. It's one of my favorites. And I know you probably think, oh, you say that about everything, Lori. Everything's your favorite. Not really. I'm usually pretty honest, or you just don't see it if I'm not a fan of a particular stamp set or bundle. I don't invest in it, and I don't share it on my lives. And some, I mean, just like you, there's some I love a stamp or two from the set. And invariably I figure out other ways to use some of the other stamps in it that maybe wasn't my favorite. I'm going to stamp this little guy right down here in the corner because he needs some love too, right? And then we're going to fill in the top. Oh, you are very welcome. All right, so again, we're going to do our best to line this up. Today is not, well, definitely this way. Take my glasses off, see if that helps. And you're probably going to see my head come in because this one's not quite as forgiving as, I know I'm crooked, as the Two Tone Flora. That's not too bad. We'll take that. We'll take that. Now, here's where I didn't pull the stamps out, right? We have these teeny tiny centers. I mean, really teeny tiny. So we're going to grab one of those and put it on the clear block. That way Lori doesn't lose it on her desk. And then I also have the greenery for that little flower. But we're going to ink that up in the Calypso Coral because it is going to come out just a little bit darker. Hopefully that shows up on camera. We're going to grab the soft seafoam or the greenery. I am so not a green girl, but I do really like soft seafoam and Calypso Coral together. I don't know about you guys. So this is going to also go on a layer of soft seafoam. See, I just carried that color theme the whole way through. And there's lots of other patterns in that designer pack of paper. So you can pull your color combinations right from your paper. And you all do know, and I only say this because my mother's the one that introduced me to stamping 22 years ago, probably now. And it wasn't very long ago that we were having a conversation and she's like, I just don't know how you put those color combinations together. And I'm like, Mom, you do know that the designer papers on the back of the packages have the colors that are in it listed, right? So just in case you weren't aware of that, I want to make sure you are. They are listed on the back of the package. Now, you know, I'm giving away trade secrets. No, just kidding. But I'm really not that magician-y. All right, I'm gonna do a little burnishing on the back to make sure that has good contact. We're gonna do our front. So a technique and a fun fold today, right? Nothing wrong with that. Let's bring our scrap paper back in. We're gonna grab our big flower. Ink that up. Of course, memento, especially because we're just not so much because we're coloring with blends today, because this is a two-step stamp, but because we are using photopolymer, and photopolymer likes memento better than stays on. So at an angle. And I do have a foam pad under here. Always remember, with your photopolymer stamps, you are going to be more successful in getting a nice, crisp, clean stamped image if you put a foam pad under you when you're stamping with the photopolymer. Okay, we're going to ink up a large floral image. And I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on camera for you at the same time, not putting my head completely in the way. So again, Calypso Coral. Okay, that one was a little off. You also want to be careful when you lay your when you mount your stamps. That, and let me show you what I mean by this. When you mount your stamps, you're not doing this. Now I know that looked like I literally just mounted that stamp, but I pulled that. I pulled that just a little bit. And I think that's what happened here, right? I got a little bit off there. So what I tend to do with photopolymer stamps is I put them on my table and I pick them up, rather than my hands being involved in it, because even unknowingly you might be shifting that or, you know, tweaking the way it's laying down, and then it will not line up with your stamped image. So just keep that in mind. And I learned that because I'd made a card at club and it was beautiful and the girls really liked it. And a couple of the girls came to my open studio and she wanted to make it again, and she did it and she couldn't get it to line up with the die cut. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, we did it. It worked. It was beautiful. And then I said, wait a minute, how did you mount that stamp onto that clear block? And sure enough, we pulled it off. We laid it in front of us. We mounted it. She did it again, and it came out perfectly. So just a little tip on how you mount your polymer stamps if you're doing something that needs to line up. Okay, and here we go. One more. One more. There we go. So yeah, I guarantee you that's what I did on that one. I either moved the big one or the smaller stamp to do the fill. Now we have yet another teeny tiny little image that I'm going to protect by putting this one away. And pulling it out. And I got nervous there for a minute because I couldn't see it. I'm like, oh, where did it go? Where did it go? All right, so I'm going to put that one in there tightly. Because my fingers are too big to play with those tiny little stamps. Okay, so now we're going to do the center of the flower. I'm using soft suede. Again, I pulled that color. Even though it's not showing up on this one necessarily, underneath you can see, right? Same way here, we're going to see it around the edge. So we pulled the soft suede right from the designer paper. And then I should have one more right there. The sending happy thoughts also comes from the Beautifully Happy. Literally, there's a gremlin in my studio because that stamp set, that stamp that oh, there it is. I'm like, that stamp that I pulled out when I started this card has disappeared. Sending happy thoughts. And that's going to go right up here in the corner. Back to our soft seafoam mat. And then that's going to go right on our card front. And one more time, I'm going to just give myself a little bit of extra fold here, crease, if you will, so that it lays down. And there is our card. And no embellishments on this one, but isn't that cute? I love that fold. Absolutely love that fold. So there we go. Those, and then our tile card that we created, faux tile card with our clear embossing powder and Versamark. And just score your paper. You can score it equally. I did mine a little bit like, you know, it was just a picture or a section of the wall, but you can score it equally so that you have equal squares the whole way across. All right, guys. Hey, I hope you enjoyed those. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a new time. It's a little bit different, but I do appreciate it. It's making my life a little bit easier. And I will be back next Tuesday here on YouTube with some fabulous projects. Make sure you tune in then. Make sure you give me a thumbs up because that tells YouTube you like what you're seeing, helps me continue to go. And subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and leave a comment as always, and I'll enter you into the drawing. I'll be back live on my Facebook channel on Thursday morning at 10, and then again Sunday night at 8. So maybe you can join me over there too. Thank you, Monica. Thanks for stopping in and watching. Hope you'll do it again sometime. Thanks, Deborah. Everybody take care. Have a great week and happy Valentine's Day. Bye.